Channel. In this video we are going to talk about the Treaty of Versailles, which is very important topic for the for the students of world history. So let's take an overview. As we know that it was signed on June 28, 1999, as an end to the First World War. The Treaty of Versailles was supposed to ensure a lasting peace by punishing Germany and setting up a League of Nations to solve diplomatic problems. State, it left a legacy of political and geographical difficulties that have often been blamed, sometimes solely for starting the Second World War. As we know that the Germany lost the First World War, in response to that, the Treaty of Versailles was taken place at the Paris to just jot down certain rules for punishing the Germany and not to ignite another world war. And the most important thing to remember is that those who signed that treaty of the Versailles from the German side, those people are known as the November criminals in the Germany. This treaty led to humiliation in Germany and hyperinflation, and the people have to take trillions of dollars from their home for just buying a small bread, because hyperinflation was much higher at the time after the World War One. In already war-torn country, such type of repercussions and the territory lost caused a lot of humiliation, and yeah, that was definitely no wonder but the nightmare for the Germans, which led to the ultra-nationalist sentiments over there in people, and which lead to the rise of Adolf Hitler, which caused massacre of so many people. Basically, for these three big peoples are considered the British Prime Minister Lord George, French Prime Minister Franz Clemenceau, and US President Woodrow Wilson. These three peoples are considered that they made this treaty, and although they did not invite the Germans and Austria people, their leaders, they did not invite at the treaty, and they just ordered their response, which was merely and largely ignored by these people. Germans almost lost 13% of their territory and 12% of their population, and iron resources was lost almost 48%, agricultural production was lost almost 50%, and coal 10%, and with much more, a lot more problems and conundrums were created in that country as well. In response to this treaty, the nature of the treaty caused anger and the loss of pride for the Germans, and the Germans has to pay the war guilt, and it lost a lot of its territory, its land, and there was a lot of military restrictions in some part of the land in the Germans. Demilitarization occurred, where the German cannot hold any control and cannot let their soldiers stand over there. The army was restricted to 100,000 men only, with other restriction also taking place. No submarines, no air fly was they were all banned in the Germans. Germany lost 13% and 12% of its people, and the newly formed socialist government was banned and branded the November criminals. These grievances caused political allegiance to be polarized following the Second World War. Over here you can see that meat consumption was dropped to 88%, and the iron was lost, the resources, coal was lost, and zinc was lost by the Germans. The most important thing to consider is that many more people died from the starvation and hyperthermia in the Germany. So Germany lost a lot of population, that is unconsiderable. Over here you can see that this red boundary is showing the boundary of the Germany before the 1914. In the 1914, this red boundary is showing the boundary of the Germany. Over here you can see that this area was taken under the control of international law, which was already part of the Germans, and it was taken under the international law. And over here you can see that Saar, which was the part of the France and taken back by the France, and Alsace-Lorraine was that territory was lost by the Germans, and the Western Prussia was lost by the Germans as well. So the German was held a very little amount of the land than before, and Austria was allowed not to have any connection with the Germany, and Poland was divided. It means that the Germany was divided into two, the Germany and the Poland. Poland was a part of the Germany, but then it divided. So this is all about the Treaty of Versailles. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for listening this.